I'd like to welcome everyone here today, and I would also like to thank the Council on Aging who hosted with the Selectmen. We are here today to honor Bill Plante. Who will be receiving the Boston Post cane in honor of being the oldest citizen in town. I asked Bill, I said, do you want to sit in the red chair? And he says, no, I can stand back there. And I'm thinking, boy, my knees are killing me. Everyone knows that my knees hurt. And Bill said, I can wait. So I would also, I know a lot of people have seen the announcement or read it in the paper, but we're on television too, so I'm going to read the history of the Boston Post cane. The origins and tradition of the Boston Post cane began on August 2nd, 1909. Mr. Edward Grozer, publisher of the Boston Post, a newspaper forwarded to the Board of Selectmen of 700 towns which had no cities involved, in New England, a gold-headed ebony cane, with the request that it be presented with the compliments of the Boston Post to the oldest male citizen in the town, to be used by him as long as he lives or stays in town, and at his death be handed down to the next oldest citizen. The cane would belong to the town and not the man, and the selectman would actually be in charge of keeping the cane. So I kind of smiled when I thought about this because it began in journalism and now it's going to a man of journalism. So if that's irony or whatever, but it's wonderful. So the canes were all made by J.F. Faraday and Company of New York manufacturer from ebony shipped in 7-foot lengths from the Congo in Africa. They were cut to, they were cut to cane lengths, seasoned for 6 months, turned on lathes to the right thickness, coated, polished. They had a 14-karat gold head, 2 inches long, decorated by hand with a ferrule tip. The head was engraved with the inscription presented by the Boston Post to the oldest citizen of Newbury, to be transmitted. The Board of Selectmen, like I said before, were the trustees. Now, just as a sidebar or a note, not all the towns were able to find their canes. Some were lost, some were misplaced. So I'd like to give a shout out to the students of our town because we have the original cane, which is kind of nice. So now a little bit about Bill, and that's not a little bit. And thanks to Richard Lodge, I have quite a bit of information, and you know, Bill was of that greatest generation. William Plante Jr. was born in Newburyport on February 4th, 1921, to William and Bertha, and he was, or they were, first-generation French-Canadian. He graduated from Newburyport High School, class of 38, and my dad graduated the same class. And Bill, I've heard that there was a lot of guys with a lot of achievement that graduated from H&S in that year, so that must have been quite a class you were in. As so many students that graduated high school, Bill went to work locally in shoe shops and boatyards, and then enlisted. Can you imagine getting out of high school and enlisting in the U.S. Army? So that was certainly a different generation. Where he served from 1942 to 1946, he participated in the Battle of the Bulge, and he was a platoon commander. After other deployments, he was discharged as a captain of the Army Air Corps of Engineers in April 1946. When he left the Army, like so many others, he went to school. He went to none other than Boston University, received his Bachelor of Science degree with honors in journalism. During his long career in journalism, he worked as an editor and co-publisher for the newspapers in Aroostook County. When you come up to speak, I want to know how you got to Aroostook County, Bill. Before joining the Newburyport Daily News in 1951 as a reporter. He was an advertising salesman, but obviously as time went on, he held the position of managing editor, general member, and was named executive editor of the Essex County newspapers from 1965 to 1984. He retired as general manager in 1986, but continued to write a column twice a week to 2014. He also was very active and had many other achievements. Not with and less standing, he organized the Mass Newspapers Publishers Association in 1972, assuming the role as executive director from 1984 until his retirement in 2004 and 84. He has twice been the recipient of the Academy of New England Journalists Yankee Quill Award and was elected to the Hall of Fame of the New England Press Association in 2005. On terra firma, back in Newburyport, he was no less important. In the area of community involvement, Bill Plante began a 10-year campaign in 1955 to create a new industrial base in Newburyport, to call for urban renewal in the central business district, push for modernization of the school system, and to increase awareness and importance of history, and one of my favorite, to bring to the end the pollution of the Merrimack River. He was elected president of the Newburyport Area Industrial Development Corporation in 1965 and also served as board chairman of the Anna Jakes Hospital from 1983 to 1990. Bill was married to his wife, Susan, until her passing in 1998. His family includes 4 sons and 1 daughter and 10 grandchildren. So, Bill, it was a tremendous honor.
Thank you. That was really well.
I had a lot of help. I had a lot of help. Choose wisely, but I'd take this one. This is the one that you're going to get to take home, Bill.
Okay.
This is the Boston Post cane. It was a great honor that the town of Newbury and everyone involved certainly gives Bill the right to hold this cane for many, 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 many more years.
Oh, yeah.
So, Bill, I can lower the microphone if you'd like to say a few words
Oh,
about.
no, it's all right. Show me a mic and try to keep me awake. Well, obviously, thank you, and I'm really impressed with the research you have done here on my wandering through the world during my lifetime. I just want to cite a couple of few things. You drive down the street, Hay Street, you see a flagpole in my backyard. That flagpole was once a tree. It was opposite the new high school in Newburyport, and they were cutting them down. I was born on Dove Street. My father and mother were taking a room across the street and up 2 houses from their father's home. And times were hard. They were always hard. And it was an Irish neighborhood, it was an Irish community, and they had earned it by long time efforts to establish their leadership in so many ways at that time. They were all around us on Dove Street. And so I was the kid there and grew out of that over time. I don't want to go into a great long life situation. He's already done that.
How'd you
They
get
all
to-
came
How'd
because-
you get to Aroostook County in Maine?
What's that?
How did you get up to Aroostook County in Maine?
Yes, well, at graduation at Boston University, if you anyone who had any experience with that knew that no one had planned on having the education of those who had been in the war. I shouldn't have called that. Hello.
We'll let the fire side.
Trying to do history in a very short time. Almost all of it was the accidental need and rushing with things. Before graduation from BU, this man did show up from way up in north of the country, and he was looking for someone to go up there and sell ads and one thing to all of the newspapers up there, through the newspapers up there. And I took that as a means to begin to learn the business from the ground up. And then the war came along, and I had they had asked me to take over as commanding officer, although I was a combat engineer during the war, and this was not a combat engineer group, but nevertheless I was a captain and so forth, etc. I did, and then it looked like we were going to go on to war, and so I left there and did go on to war. Didn't get to war because my unit didn't call to get to war, blah, 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 blah. And wound up hauling a trailer from way into the United States, back up home and down on Hay Street. My good friend was building his own house. And there was two houses, two lots beyond that, and he talked me into using one of them. I did not want to live in Newburyport as the editor of the paper. And I did so because Andrew J. Gillis was just waiting to do his thing, and I appreciate him as a politician and the way he handled his politics, but I wanted to be sure that this was no effort of mine to become mayor of Newburyport. It led on for 2 or 3 years, and time passed for everything else. But other things did happen, and one of them was things that needed to be looked at from time, over a long time, in terms of what a free press meant. What did a free press mean? And I have to tell you today, that is currently a very major problem that needs to be looked at that way. It is doing everything it possibly can to survive, and to do it in a way that will grow. It is my worry and concern that the kinds of government that we have in this nation may well be shattered if the free press is somehow contained to a point where it can no longer function. That does not come from something just off my elbow. The world is in a different kind of splash right now. And I hope that we somehow manage to deal with it. It's, I have limited my own numbers of things to be read. But so much for one is what is enough to do at the moment. And at the same time, I'm encouraging everyone to do all you can do at the moment. I think the world is in the same kind of mush. Travel is too easy. Education is what it becomes upon which to pass. And the kinds of problems that are there at the moment are beyond our history and have to somehow be sorted out. I am very fortunate to have been able to be in one role or another down a long, long path that has reached far beyond anything I imagined would ever happen for things that I was engaged in with others and some on my own to where we are today. And nothing is more important today than for us to think of being a citizen of this country and to know specifically what is important to retain our freedom. I have nothing much to say beyond that because I don't know how that will come out. I have a great deal of faith in it, because I have a great deal of faith in our people. And I encourage everyone at every stage of the game to think beyond the immediate in which they see day by day. And I thank you for the opportunity to have said that. Thank you. Having said that, I'll just point out the fact that in my home, which began with four rooms, down a peg from the street. When God talked me into taking it, he was building his own 2 up. And I had nothing to work with. I was hauling a trailer from the Midwest and just beginning to have our family. And I actually filled up a lot of the land by what we scrapped up with a wheelbarrow going around the street in the area when people were pushing it to one side. That's how I came to Newbury. Today, people are coming into Newbury and seeing houses that have not been built very long time at all, deciding that they're not really, in some instances, large enough and so forth in order to take care of what they are doing. And they're doing it on Hay Street too. On Hay Street, it's a remarkable street. It's one of the greatest streets around. Why? Because there are so very few people who live on it. We have had a great role in that. And there you are. There's 2 miles, actually, from my house to the highway, super highway. And when we began our house, there were, as I recall, 9 houses on Hay Street, all the way in 2 miles. Then there is the one coming up from Hale Street, up beautifully. That is the most beautiful site, north of Boston, when you go down Hay Street and take a left down there to go up the hill. Don't speed on your car the way you do. Go slowly and really suck it in, because it is wonderful. It is one of the greatest sites around north of Boston. And it is arranged so that you can't stop very much. There's no place to park. But you can go mighty slow to appreciate it. And that is in Newbury. You know, it's a roar of a place. So much for that, and I'm all done.
It crosses a good bridge to get there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Where was it?
Thank you very much, Phil.
Yeah.
Feel free to join us in reflection and congratulating Bill.
Was I sitting here? I think I was. That's my fault. Mine? Why was sitting?
Hold up your cane so we can see.
Sorry?
Hold up your cane.
Now I'll take one of